will be what is a profit and loss account. Now in last session we studied about what is a trading account. So from trading account, the gross profit is carried forward or transferred to profit and loss account. Okay, so as the name itself suggests, profit and loss account, it will include all the incomes and expenses that are not included in trading account. Okay, so profit and loss account will include all the income and expenses or profits or expenses of which are not included in the trading account, that is all indirect income and indirect expenses. So we'll see what indirect income and indirect expenses once we see the format of profit and loss account. Now the main purpose of profit and loss account is to find net profit or net loss before appropriation. Appropriation is nothing but distribution. Okay, distribution. Now this net profit or net loss from profit and loss account is then transferred to profit and loss appropriation account. Okay, now let's see one example, one format of profit and loss account. So this is a format of profit and loss account. So like trading account, profit and loss account for the year ended, or profit and loss account maybe for the quarter ended or for the month ended, depending on your business situations. Okay, so for internal purpose, profit and loss account may be prepared at every month end or a quarter end also. Okay, now if you see, it's similar to the trading account. There is no date column, only particulars, amount, because profit and loss account is prepared on a particular day. That is, if you say profit and loss account is prepared for the year ended 31st March 2016, all the entries in the profit and loss account will be as on 31st March 2016. So there is no date column. Okay, so debit side, credit side, and particulars, amount and amount. Okay, now profit and loss, as told to you earlier, the profit and loss account will begin with the gross profit or gross loss. That will be the first item in the profit and loss account. Since the gross profit or gross loss is transferred to profit and loss account, the first item will be by gross profit carried down. Okay, if there is a gross loss, then on the debit side of profit and loss account, to gross loss carried down. Okay, now as explained earlier, all the indirect expenses and indirect income are the part of profit and loss account. Now what do you mean by indirect expense? Indirect expense means the expense which are not directly related for the production of the goods or for the purpose of trading of goods. Okay, so in trading account, what we included is whatever was the part of cost of goods sold, was all those expenses were included in trading account. In profit and loss account, all the expenses apart from the expenses that are part of cost of goods sold are included here. That is all the indirect expenses. Okay, now what will be the pattern of the indirect expenses? Usually what we do is in profit and loss account, we group the expenses. Okay, so first may include your administration and office expenses. Okay, now this administration and office expenses, what will it include? Okay, it will include the salaries paid to the people working in general office or salary of executive officers. Okay, they are not working in factory, but they are working in the organization. They are working in the separate office premises, or the executives, okay, or the managers, those who are working in the office. All those salaries will be included here. Okay, then there may be salaries of some accounts department, HR department. All those salaries will be included here. So this will include salaries of general office department. Okay, for example, you have accounts or finance department, then you have HR department. Okay, then there may be salaries of some executive officers. All those salaries are included in this. Okay, then the next is rent and taxes for office premises. Okay, so whatever rent and taxes was paid for factory premises, we had included it in trading account. Now this will be rent and taxes for office premises. Then there may be lighting expenses in office. Okay, so if you see the nature of cost which is included here, they are not directly related to production of goods or sale of and purchase of goods. So they are included in profit and loss account. Then there may be some printing and stationery which you require in office. Correct? So now this printing and stationery, what does it include? It includes all the ink for the printer. Correct? Then pens, pencils, papers, files, whatever printing and stationery that is required. Then next maybe there may be some postage expenses, postage, telegram expenses. Okay, the post for your post courier expenses. Okay. These are all self-explanatory expenses. Then telephone expenses. Correct? Then there may be some legal fees. Okay, legal fees is the fees that is being paid to the lawyer. There may be some company lawyer which is hired, or a lawyer of a particular organization. So you may need to pay some consultation or legal fee to the lawyer. Then audit fee. Fees for the purpose of audit. Okay. Then we may have some consultation fees. Okay, that is fees for some consultation which is paid to some professional. Okay, all these are part of your administrative expenses and office expenses. Now there is one more group, that is all selling and distribution expenses. Now this includes all the expenses that are for the purpose of selling and distribution of the goods, that is whatever are related to your selling and distribution. So your salary of salesman, if you have salesman, your salary of salesman, Then if you have some agents, then agents commission. Then there may be also some advertising which is done for the product, all this advertising expenses. Okay, then warehousing expenses. Now this warehousing expenses means the goods, okay, when you store the finished goods, okay, before selling, or sometimes during travel you need to store your goods in warehouse, okay, especially when you are transporting goods through ships, okay, there may be some delay or the ship may start in some 4 or 5 days, then you may have to incur some warehousing expenses. You may have to take out the goods from the factory and keep it in the warehouse, okay, shipping warehouse for 4 or 5 days. So all those expenses will be included in selling and distribution expenses. So these are for the purpose of the expenses which are incurred before selling of the goods. So goods have been already taken out of your factory premises. Then there may be some packing expenses, okay, some special packing which is done for selling and distribution of the goods. Then there may be freight and carriage expenses on sales. Okay, so freight and carriage on purchases, that is freight inward and carriage inward, are included in your trading account. This is freight and carriage on sales, that is goods have been taken out of factory, okay, for the purpose of selling. So this is also known as freight or carriage outwards, okay. Okay, and freight and carriage on purchases is known as freight or carriage inwards. All these are part of your selling expenses. Okay, then there may be some export duties. Now this export duties is on sale, okay. Export duties on the purchase of goods are included in your purchases, then trading account. This may be export duties on your sales. Then you may also have some sales tax, okay, sales tax. Now this sales tax, usually what happens is whenever there is some sales tax, we recover it from the customer, that is, it is included in the selling price of the good. So here what we included, sales tax which cannot be recovered from customer. For example, if on a particular commodity we are paying a sales tax of say rupees 100 to the government, but we are able to recover only 80 rupees, then 20 rupees will be charged to your profit and loss account under selling and distribution expenses, which cannot be recovered from the customer. Then there may be some maintenance, vehicle maintenance expenses, okay. Now these vehicle means these are used for distribution of goods, okay, and their running expenses also, that is petrol expenses and all those things. Vehicle which are used for distribution of goods, all those will be included in your selling and distribution. Then there may be some insurance on finished goods, okay. So while transporting your goods, you may take an insurance, okay, that insurance will be included here. Then there may be some bad debts. Now this bad debts is not directly your distribution expense, but this bad debts is because of your debtors, that is customers, right? So it is related to sales, so it is included in selling and distribution expenses. So all this is example of selling and distribution expenses. Now there is one more group, that is financing expenses. Okay, now this financing expenses, as the name itself suggests, it is related to the expense which are in the nature of financial expenses are included here. Now this will include your interest expense. So suppose you have taken a loan from the bank and you have to pay the interest, that interest will be included here. Then there may be some discount, okay, on your bills, that will be included here. Okay, then there may be some discount allowed to the customers. Okay, that will be included here. So all the expenses that are in the nature of financial expenses, all those are included in the group of financing expenses. Then there is one more. This is usually the last item, that is income tax. Okay, so at the end of every financial year you need to pay some income tax to the government. Okay, so this income tax expense, okay, so whatever is the income tax for that particular year, so what is done is usually the income tax expense is calculated, okay, and then there is some provision for income tax which is done. So this income tax expense will be included here. Okay, now let's see the credit side of your profit and loss account. Okay, the credit side will include all your indirect incomes. Okay, indirect incomes means all the additional income which are not part of your normal course of business. Okay, all those income will be included on the credit side of your profit and loss account. Now this may include by interest received. Okay, there may be some interest which is received from the bank. Okay, that interest you will be including it here. Then there may be some sale of asset. Okay, so there may be some profit on sale of asset. So by profit on sale of asset, okay, it will be included here. Then there may be some premises of your factory, okay, and that some part of your factory premises or office premises you are not using it, so you have subletted it, okay, and you are receiving a rent on that, so that rent may be included here. Okay, now remember, this is not your ordinary business. Okay, you are just letting it out because you have some extra space. Okay, so this by rent received on letting excess premises. So this is also included on your credit side of profit and loss account. Okay, so there may be some more other indirect incomes which can be included on the credit side of profit and loss account. Now once this is done, what you do is you calculate the total and then when the credit side is total is more than the debit side, you have net profit. Now this net profit is before appropriation. Appropriation is distribution. Okay, but if debit side total is more than the credit side, you have net loss. So by net loss before appropriation. Now this net loss or net profit is carried forward to your profit and loss appropriation account. Okay, both, whatever you have, net profit or net loss, both are carried to your profit and loss appropriation account. Now let's see one example on how to prepare a profit and loss account. Okay, we have extract of trial balance as on 31st March 2016. Then you have office rent, office salary, then salary of salesman, distribution vehicle running expenses, interest paid on loan, income tax expense, interest received on investment is showing a credit balance of 1 lakh. So now all these accounts, that is all the accounts that are showing the debit balances here, are all indirect expense. That is, either they are your administration expenses or they are part of your selling and distribution expenses or finance expenses. Okay, since all the accounts are showing the debit balance, you have to transfer this balances to your profit and loss account. So the entry will be profit and loss account debit to office rent account. So how much is the amount? 50,000. Then to office salary account. How much is the amount? 20,000. Then to salesman salary account. How much is the amount? 10,000. Then to distribution vehicle expenses account. Okay, how much is the amount? 25,000. Then to interest paid on loan account. What is the amount? 40,000. Okay, and the last one is to income tax expenses. How much is the amount? 35,000. Now this, all the individual accounts are credited. Now all total of this will be debited to your profit and loss account. So this will be the journal entry. So the total of all this comes to 1,80,000. Now that is debited to your profit and loss account. Then interest received on investment, so that is an indirect income. Now this is showing a credit balance of 1 lakh. This needs to be transferred to profit and loss account. So your entry will be interest received on investments account debit 1 lakh to profit and loss account 1 lakh. Okay, and all these journal entries will be passed on 31st March 2016. Okay, now let's prepare one profit and loss account and find out what is the net profit. We have been already given gross profit carried out from trading account is 3 lakh. Okay, so this is a profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 2016. Okay, now we'll post these entries in the profit and loss account. Okay, profit and loss account debit to office rent, office salary, salesman salary, distribution vehicle expense, interest paid on loan and income tax expenses. Okay, but before that what we'll do is we'll transfer the gross profit. So since it's a gross profit which is carried forward, it will be on the credit side of profit and loss account. Okay, so by gross profit carried forward, amount is how much? 3 lakhs. Correct. Now we'll group these expenses as administration and selling. Now office rent and office salary, both are office and administration expenses. So on the debit side of profit and loss account, station expenses. Okay, so what is it? Office rent 50,000, office salary 20,000. Office rent 50,000, office salary 20,000. Then the next one. Next is salesman salary is 10,000, distribution vehicle expense 25,000. Now these are selling and distribution expense. So selling and distribution expenses. Okay, so what is it? One is salesman salary, another is vehicle expenses, that is distribution vehicle expenses. So let's see what are the amount. Salesman salary is 10,000, distribution vehicle expense 25,000. Salesman salary, this is 25,000. Then the next one. Next one is interest paid on loan 40,000. So this is financial expenses. So financial expenses, interest on loan. How much is that? 40,000. 40,000. Then the next one, income tax expense 35,000. So to income tax expense 35,000. Okay, then interest received on investment is 1 lakh. Okay, on the credit side. So we'll post this entry on the credit side. By interest received on investments. So 1 lakh. Okay, now the credit side total is 3 lakh plus 1 lakh, that is 4 lakh. Debit side total is 50,000 plus 20,000, that is 70,000 plus 10,000, 80,000. 80,000 plus 25,000, 1 lakh 5,000, 1 lakh 5,000 plus 40,000, that is 1 lakh 45,000, 1 lakh 45,000 plus 35,000. So that is 1 lakh 45, 50, 1 lakh 80,000. Okay, so credit side total is greater. So 4 lakh. Okay, so 4 lakh minus debit side total will give you 2 lakh 20,000. Okay, now since credit side total is greater than the debit side, you will have net profit. So to net profit carried forward. Now this net profit will be carried to your profit and loss appropriation account. Okay, so your profit and loss is showing a credit balance, so your entry will be profit and loss account debit 2,20,000 to profit and loss appropriation account 2,20,000. If there is a net loss, your entry will be profit and loss appropriation account debit to profit and loss account. Okay, so this is for transfer of net profit before appropriation. Okay, so this is all about your profit and loss account. Okay, so you can go through this format. Thank you.